Hello and welcome. Today, we are going to dive into a really cool C1 level technique, something that's going to add some serious precision and impact to your Spanish. We're talking about the master stroke of emphasis, cleft sentences.
So, let me ask you something. You've gotten to an advanced level in your Spanish, right? Your grammar's solid, you've got a good vocabulary, but does it ever feel, I don't know, a little flat? You know what I mean? Like you're saying all the right words, but you're not really getting the focus across. Trust me, you're not alone. It's a really common plateau for advanced learners.
Okay, let's look at what I mean. Take a totally correct sentence, something you'd hear at a B1 or B2 level. María compró el coche ayer. Nothing wrong with it grammatically, but it's a little vague, isn't it? As the listener, I'm kind of left guessing. What's the important part here? Is it that María bought the car, or is it about the car, or maybe the key detail is that she bought it yesterday? The sentence just doesn't tell me where to focus.
Well, the solution to this problem is exactly what we're talking about today. It's your C1 upgrade for precision, oraciones extendidas, or as we call them in English, cleft sentences. This is how you grab the steering wheel and direct the conversation, making it crystal clear what matters most. So, what exactly is a cleft sentence? Well, the name cleft literally means split, and that's what it does. It splits a simple sentence into two parts. I love to think of it as a grammatical spotlight. You're taking one single piece of information, putting it center stage, and hitting it with a bright light so nobody can miss it. It becomes the star of the show.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. How do we actually build these things? There are basically two main blueprints, two formulas for making these powerful sentences. We're going to start with part one, the most common one you'll hear.
So here's the first structure. It's pretty straightforward. You start with the verb ser. Then you put the thing you want to emphasize right after it, the star of the show, and then you connect the rest of the sentence using a word like quién, qué, cuándo, or dónde. Let's see it.
Okay, let's put this into practice. Remember our sentence? María compró el coche. Using this new formula, it becomes fue María quien compró el coche. See the difference? Bam! The focus is instantly clear. We're not talking about Pedro, we're not talking about Juan. No, it was María who bought the car. All ambiguity is gone.
But what if the person isn't the important part? What if you want to emphasize the time? Well, you take a simple sentence like lo vi ayer, and to really put the focus on the timing, you use that same structure, fue ayer cuando lo vi. Now the whole point of what you're saying is when it happened. It was yesterday.
And you guessed it, the exact same pattern works for emphasizing a place. Nos conocimos en Madrid is fine, but it transforms into the much more powerful fue en Madrid donde nos conocimos. Now, Madrid isn't just some background detail, it's the absolute focal point. It was in Madrid, specifically, that we met.
Awesome! So you've got the first blueprint down. But what happens when the thing you want to emphasize isn't a who, when, or where, but a what? You know, the action or the idea itself? For that, we need to look at our second blueprint.
Now, this one kind of flips the formula on its head. You're going to start with the phrase lo que. Right after that, you put the action or the main idea. And then you use the verb ser to point directly at the thing you're highlighting.
Let's just look at an example, because it makes it so clear. A B1 or B2 sentence might be, el precio importa. Okay, fine. But listen to the C1 version. Lo que importa es el precio. Whoa, it has a completely different energy, right? You're saying the thing that matters is the price. It's so much more direct and forceful.
Okay, but with this second structure, there's a little tripwire. A detail that really separates the C1 speakers from everyone else. And it's all about verb agreement. You got to get this right.
So here's the deal. The verb ser, it doesn't agree with lo que. No, it has to agree with the noun that comes after it. So, if the noun is singular, like el verano, you use es. Lo que me gusta es el verano. But, and this is the key, if the noun is plural, like las vacaciones, you have to use son.
Just burn this example into your brain. Lo que más me gustan son las vacaciones. Notice the verb is gustan, plural, because it's the vacations that are liked. That means the verb ser also has to be plural, son. Lo que me gustan son las vacaciones. Getting that right, that is a dead giveaway that you're operating at a very high level.
All right, so we've got our two main blueprints. We know the rules, especially that tricky verb agreement. So now, let's see how this tool is actually used out in the wild, where it really matters. And I want to be clear, this isn't just some fancy trick for conversations. These cleft sentences are a huge deal in more formal contexts. Think journalism, academic writing, formal speeches. They're used all the time to make arguments incredibly clear and to present information with a real sense of authority.
Just check out this newspaper headline, for example. The journalist could have just written, Las medidas económicas provocaron el debate. Simple enough. But by writing it this way, they're immediately telling you what the story is really about. It wasn't the politicians. It wasn't something else. No, it was the economic measures themselves that kicked off the whole debate.
And we see that same persuasive punch in academic writing. An author isn't just dropping facts on a page. They're building a case. By starting with, es precisamente esta teoría, they're essentially pointing a finger and saying, look here, out of all the other ideas, this is the one that's shaking things up. It's an incredibly powerful way to frame your argument.
And you know, that really is the main takeaway today. Cleft sentences are so much more than just another grammar rule you have to memorize. They are a strategic tool. When you use one, you become the director of the conversation. You are controlling the information and telling your listener, hey, look over here. This is the part that matters.
So, there you have it. You now have this incredibly precise instrument in your Spanish toolkit. You can shape your message with a new level of focus. So the only real question left is, now that you have this tool, what will you choose to emphasize?